Hi students, this is the Genetics Lab lecture for Lab 3, Model Organisms, Part 1. First, I just want to mention all the things that are coming up. And so that group peer review assignment was due on August 30th by 11:59 p.m. Quiz 1 over the central dogma was also due on the 30th. It was open the 30th at noon to the 31st at noon. And then quiz 2 is going to be open from Sunday 9/6 at noon through Monday 9/7 at noon. Remember, your lab notebook is due on Monday 9/14 at 11:59 p.m. Do not forget that you need to have your first 3 labs in there. Lab 1, Lab 2, the theoretical Drosophila assignment, and the first part of Lab 3, which is monohybrid crosses. After that, we will be having the introduction to the rough draft due on Saturday, 9/19. The peer review of the intro will be due on Monday, 9/21. And then we will have the quiz 3 on model organisms on 9/20, starting at noon until 9/21 at noon. That is a typo. So this week, we are going to talk about model organisms like the fruit fly. One reminder on the notebook requirements. Remember, you need your table of contents, your pre-lab, which is your title, purpose, and method. The method needs to be done well enough for me to be able to perform the experiment without reading the lab protocol. The title, you need to make up yourself. Don't call it Lab 3 or don't call it model organisms. And the purpose needs to be, or the objective needs to be in your own words. So if you copy and paste, you will get a 0. The results and discussion, you need to have a result and a discussion section for each of the maze images or boxes that we did. You'll need a hypothesis, the cross, which parents you're doing, the Punnett square, your data, and your chi-square when asked, as well as a result and discussion section for it. So be sure that is filled out entirely. The theoretical Drosophila assignment. You're going to use your textbook and the model organism lab and your lecture notes to be able to design a series of experiments that starts with wild type flies being crossed with flies that have crimson eyes and no wings. You're going to determine the dominance, determine if there is a sex linkage, and independent assortment versus linked genes. The theoretical Drosophila assignment is part of your lab notebook. You need to make sure that's in there for when you turn it in. So today, aside from the Drosophila assignment, you're going to look at monohybrid crosses between fruit flies. And so you will go to the computer simulation at sciencecourseware.org/VCISE/, and you will start making crosses of fruit flies through a lab simulation. You want to remember that the steps of how to do this are all in the lab protocol. So if you're confused, go to the lab protocol and follow all the steps in their entirety. There's pictures, everything to walk you through step by step each of the crosses that we'll do throughout the next 5 weeks. So using wild type female fly and an eyeless male fly, you will determine which phenotype is dominant. Then you will complete a reciprocal cross to determine if it's sex-linked or autosomal. And then you will answer the question, does it follow simple Mendelian inheritance? Make sure you answer all the in-lab questions. So to do a monohybrid cross, you'll use a Punnett square. The traits of each parent go along the edges. So the female being capital E, and the male being lowercase e. The F1 generation is 100% capital E, lowercase e, which would be heterozygous. So you have homozygous dominant times homozygous recessive gives 100% heterozygous. The heterozygote form will be dominant. When you do a reciprocal cross, you need to look at the gene for the sex chromosome. So you have to take into account the X's and Y's. So we expect with normal Mendelian inheritance, no X linkage, which would be like the first cross, right? Where you would have XX and XY. The parents, the mother being XX would be 2 capital E's. The father being XY would be 2 lowercase e's. Because we assume no X linkage, we assume that both alleles from the dad come through as little e's, which is where we get 100% dominant heterozygote. However, if there is a linkage, you would be able to see a difference, right? Because the Y wouldn't carry it. And then if we suspect the linkage, we do the reciprocal cross. So then we'll have the XX mother with the homozygous recessive and the father with the homozygous dominant. Now the father won't carry anything on the Y chromosome. And so the end result will be heterozygote females being dominant and recessive males. So it's important when you're doing a reciprocal cross to pay attention to the gender or the sex chromosomes involved with your model organism, in our case, fruit flies, Drosophila melanogaster. If you have questions about this activity, please reach out to me. You can go through the syllabus and the introductory module, which gives my Remind information. You can log into Remind or join via text message, and then you can text me. You can also email me or Canvas message me, and I will reply as quick as possible. And we can meet in a Zoom room if you need some additional help as a lab group, or even one-on-one in a Zoom room, or I can answer questions via text message, email, or Canvas message. Have a wonderful weekend and a great week.